It will be about 40 or 45 minute session. We have lots of topics today, and we'll be talking about some best practices with Oracle Data Integrator, about flexibility. First of all, I'd like to thank both APEC OC on behalf of Francisco Munoz Alvarez, my dear friend, thank you a lot, and Oracle developer community, as well as the Oracle ACE program to make this happen. To give it a start, you can always connect me via my blog, my Twitter, or my LinkedIn accounts. You can ask any questions, or we can discuss about your problems or solutions anytime. So let's give it a go. First of all, I'd like to talk about a few words about the Oracle ACE program. We have 3 tiers as Oracle ACE Associate, Oracle ACE, and Oracle ACE Director. Currently, as far as I know, there are more than 600 ACEs worldwide. And you can always connect from Facebook, Twitter, or bit.ly or your Oracle ACE program. Or you can nominate yourself to be in this wonderful community. But before that, I'd like to mention about Deborah Lilly, and she, because there are lots of abbreviations in our in technology world, she started a good abbreviation of ACE as an awesome community expert. So we are all the ACE program members are, to me, all are awesome community experts. So you can nominate yourself and be a part of this wonderful community. So who am I? Who is this guy speaking in front of you? I have more than 20 years of experience in IT, which I'd like to hide my age. 15 years of data warehousing experience, finished about 17 or 18 analytical projects, not only DVH, but also other analytical projects from start to end. I've been involving with Oracle Data Integrator since 10G, 11G, and 12C, of course, and also the ODI PC, which is called the Cloud Edition of Oracle Data Integrator. But beyond that, I'm a complete data warehousing guy, which I've used almost all the tools to set up a data warehouse, just like Power Designer, SQL Developer, Data Modeler, OBI, EE, Cognos, MicroStrategy, and others. I was awarded as Enterprise Architect of the Year in 2011 by Oracle magazine. We are doing the similar things which Francisco is doing for APEC OUC under the name of Turkish Oracle User Group. And we are doing some events in Turkey to meet peers with to make peers connect with not only this program but also other experts. I'd like to share my experiences, always did, and continue to share in not only Oracle but also the other OT and or the other related sites if there is a need for that. I've been presented in Oracle OpenWorld 7 times in a row. Last year I missed it. This year I'll be in OpenWorld. So if you have a chance to come to Oracle OpenWorld 2018, I'll be happy to meet with you. So again, I'm an Oracle ACE director, as well as the other fantastic guys out there. And I always start my presentations with a specific definition of ODI of myself, which goes as Oracle Data Integrator is a tool that can talk or learn how to talk with any database or operating system in its own language. This makes the ODI powerful, and we will talk a lot about this topic today. So before start, I'd like to have some attention. You need to back up your repository because we sometimes will play with repository tables. You need to back up your knowledge modules and to avoid your current developments doing something else, or you need to back up to cause unnecessary situations. Please back up your necessary ODI development, especially in test or production environment, before trying something that we talk here. So I always use a ZZZ test folder in order before starting anything, in order not to disturb or disrupt anything going on development or production environments. So here's today's agenda. I know it looks like we will talk about 6 topics, but there are lots of things inside. Let's start with some basics about variables, which you can use a variable, an ODI variable, within another variable. As you can see here, this is something from Microsoft SQL Server, which is sysjobs history, sysjob history related with sysjobs, and you submit something from Oracle. This is so cool. This is so nice, and you get the state from Oracle database and post it to SQL Server and get something. So you can use any sort of variables within another variable. So you can use ODI ref functions within a variable. For instance, for each session, you get a session no, and this get session no gives you the number of the session, and you can select something from the repository here. And this is the ODI's work repository. Since selects are always innocent, you can use it to give some information to your either business user or admin or any other thing. This is a fantastic thing that in the previous session we talked about the contexts, and sometimes it might be not applicable or not understandable to get the schema name or the database name or any physical attribute for a source or a target. For instance, this is mydb.dvh. When you use the method of get schema name, for instance, if it is in production environment, it uses dvh. If it is test environment, it could be test underscore dvh or something else. Depending on your environment or topology, which you've defined in logical and physical architecture, it automatically grabs the actual name of the schema here. Or it could be any database name or anything else that you don't have to know. So hints are really good when it is being used in good hands, and if you know what to do, and if you really need to use hints, hints generally saves lives. For a data warehousing environment, the most common and particular hints are generally append, parallel, usage, merge, sometimes full, index, ordered, and merge. So you wish to use hints, but you don't know how to apply it in Oracle Data Integrator. And we will talk about 3 different methods to apply hints. First is step, static hints. You know, this is an update. Existing rows, it makes an update with set and where, and there are some tables here, and I put some hints here, which goes as, it could be parallel and usage, it doesn't matter. These are so static, you write code within the knowledge module, where is S, X, and T are always the same, which they are the aliases of the tables. And unfortunately, this always go with parallel 8, parallel 4, and parallel 4. No change, but it works. It always works in everywhere. So the second one is, let's make it some dynamic. For instance, you want to use some hints on the same knowledge module with different interfaces, and you don't know how to do it. So we will create 2 options for the knowledge modules. One is for insert the other is for select. It is because mostly in a data warehouse, you write and insert into select statements. So we leave the default values. It is because if there is nothing, a hint will not pass. So knowledge module will still work fine. Just like if you write something wrong, again, Oracle Optimizer grabs it as a false hint and it will work without an hint. So this is so cool and it can be done. Don't worry if you write something wrong or if you do something mistyped or something with error, Oracle will still run your insert into SQL statements. So we created two options here. Both are alphanumeric variable characters. One is inserted, the other is selected, and let's try to implement them those ones within the knowledge module. So this is the get option method for, where's my mouse? Anyway, this is the get option method for to get inserted and selected, and these two statements will create a SQL statement like this. So during the within the option, I typed append parallel T3 comma 8 and parallel T1 T2 ordered whatever. So it will get everything as an insert into select statement. So everything will still work fine with parallel within parallel mode. And now you can change your parallelism type, or you can change your hints depending on your knowledge module, depending on your how many tables you have or whatever interface you need. So it's all cool. And you will see the reduce of the time for your ETL jobs. So let's go deeper. Your admin said that, your admin might say that, please write parallel 2 for development environment, 4 for excuse me, I will be typing something to chat window. And your admin said that for production, please write 8. This means you have to create 3 different developments which are varying from each other and which has to be tested individually. So to get rid of this situation, I created a table named interface hints, which to read all the knowledge modules hints from a table within a database. So it goes like name of the interface, name of the knowledge module which interface is using, of course the knowledge module step name, order, hint name, because there could be more than 2 hints depending on the knowledge module's algorithm, and it can be used in any knowledge module, in either customized or out of the box, and you have to customize it to be honest, and the value of the hint and also the order, because there could be some more than 1 selects within selects, and first, you need to get the hints. It should work on source with Oracle technology or in which technology that you are using the hints, and you get the max hint as hint 1 and hint 2. It could vary again. It could be more than 1 or 2, but max is important in order not to receive more than 1 hint in a second. So you grab the hints into you grab the hints from Oracle and you need to put it into your memory. I mean the agent's memory. And this is how you do it, Java Bean Shell. You get the you use the same get hints and see you have the same command of get hints within the knowledge module. You select it here and put it in the memory section of the agent. While it's a string, which is insert flow, insert hint 1 and 2, and you get 2 hints in your memory now. I hope everything is okay. So on the other hand, you need to use those hints on the next commands or next lines of the knowledge module. So, for instance, when you write and insert new rows here, it doesn't matter about the technology or other things. The only thing you have to add or customize the knowledge module as insert new, insert int, which you grabbed from the database and put it into the memory. So you, since it is in memory, it is being replaced just here. See, insert hint and select hint, and anything on the table with the interface name and with the right order just adds here. So you read something from database, a hint from a database, you put it on the memory section of the agent, and then if it is a local agent by your client, then put it back to SQL statement and send it to the database afterwards. So how to use it, or how you see it in the output step of the get hints. As you can see, you select the hints. It's because if there is no hint, you have to use null value. This is important. And by default, you output these rows. So on the output section, you see as the smaller add new hint and smaller add select hint, insert new. Unfortunately, this is the only problem with this method. You don't see which hint is grabbed from the database because everything is working on memory. And since we are using Java Bean Shell, it is written here, but you can send the same SQL command to your database and get the appropriate hint which has been put here. So I hope Oracle hints are okay, because these are the 3. There could be more ways, but these 3 ways are generally, especially the third one is my favorite, because with the third option, it is full variable. You can, without doing any changes on development, you can use different hints in different methods in the contexts, just like parallel 4 in development environment, parallel 8 in test environment, no parallel, and full in production environment. So data types. Imagine this is one of my dreams to use, since I'm using Sybase Power Designer. It's used in domains and using special types in the complete data warehouse, but as I said, it's all my dreams. Or there are always changes in databases with some minor or major releases, and there could be some new data types. For instance, out of the box in ODI 11G, there is no SDO geometry data type. Just like Sybase IQs or Sybase ASU's big int data type is not existing in Oracle Data Integrators any of the versions. Or you wish to use a custom data type. It's so clear for ODI. Just go to the data types in physical architecture, right click, select new data type, type the code name. This is good. the letter used to in the icon that you will see this B during all your interfaces or other elements in Oracle Data Integrator. And writable means you can update it and you can write to it and everything goes fine. Second one, if you want to convert to or convert from with any other technologies, for instance, this big int data type will be implemented as number in Oracle, numeric in JMS, or integer in Ingress. If it works, I mean, if the numeric data type in Informix collapses or holds information about the big int, it's all fine because you are creating a new data type. If it is just readable or only writable, you can leave converted from as none. This means this will be a readable, this big int or Sybase ASC's big int data type. I will only read it. I will not write it to update to it. But otherwise, you need to fill out these data types as well. So functions, my lovely topic. You can add database-related functions just like DVH AVG and use it in anywhere in ODI with giving some expressions and you need to define is the function as whether it's a group, universal or standard. Universal means in ANSI 92 SQL statements, SQL statements, is it all, will it all work? For instance, this round average fields as comma 2 is a universal function which will work in all the databases, whether it is Sybase or Microsoft SQL Server or Oracle's any version, and it's a standard version. I mean, it's a standard expression. So after implementation, you type the name and you wish to you have the option to choose if there is a technology you want to choose from, which is Oracle here, and you can write some some help upon using this when you write DVH AVG or when you select DVH AVG, it will give you show you this tooltip as a help, average rounds or whatever you like. The second option to add a user function is go to the user functions, right click and add a new user function. This time I'm using a little bit complicated one, which is the name of the function is div, and you can group it to if you have more than if you have many functions, which is so common, you can group it with analytics or any other things, and you can write a syntax here. With $, for instance, this div functions requires 3 parameters: dividend, divisors, decimals. So in most of the analytical topics, analytical projects, we don't generally want to produce a division by 0 error. To override this, we generally write some sort of this div functions, which rounds if the divisor is null, then return a variable. It could be -99, -1, -9999, whatever you want. But you can, as you can imagine, you can write variables here. If the divisor is null, then just return the unknown number. This is the unknown number. If everything goes fine, just perform the division with the decimals you want. So within the same function, you do actually you do 3 things. First, if there is a division, if the divisor is 0, then return null. The second one is if the divisor is null, it will cause you an error, return an unknown number, and round if everything goes fine. So what if you use one of those red ones? Those red functions are special functions which might be interpreted and implemented as analytical functions. So in an analytical functions, just like first or last, max and mean, those are at the same time aggregate functions. When you write sum over partition by, group by, and whatever it needs, you shouldn't group. You shouldn't use the group by statement. So how will you manage it? In my most cases, I generally type a user function from here by right-clicking new user function, put a small x here, sum x, and it is not grouping. It is not doing a group by. So you can write some parameters, group by parameters, partition by parameters, whatever it needs. So these red ones are important because it can be used either in aggregate or the analytical function. So in the meantime, I told you that you can group the user functions. When I right-click this the functions and open it, and I can see where it is being used, and I can make a perfect impact analysis where this function has been used in my entire project. So this is so cool. It is because when you wish to update or when you wish to make some changes in the function, you will see that how many mappings or how many interfaces are having an impact, and you need to change it. So let's go to alerts. So we all start our ETL jobs and do billions of zillions of SQL statements per day, and sometimes we need to send some mails to appropriate guys. Could be operators, could be business analysts, could be business users or anything, but you need to do it in proper mode. It is because, for instance, this is an example of an extraction phase, and these three scenarios works in asynchronous mode. After that, I put a wait for child session with maximum number of failed child sessions equals to 1. This means that if EXTR extraction 1, 2, or 3, if any of these fails, this could be because of the database is closed, or our user expired, password could be wrong, anything, and it could be out of your bounds because this could be a production environment, and you need to inform the related admin or operator for it. So if any of these guys are failed, switch to this one, because this is the red one. This means the KO, not OK. It refreshes a variable to put into a mail body, then sends the mail. We'll dig into this in the next slide. The important thing is raise error. It is because if ODI send mail 4 works fine, I mean, if the mail is sent, you will see the entire package as green. It is because the last job is OK, and it's green, and it's successed. So this is a stupid thing that if there is some sort of error, there is a red one of these, but you cannot see it in the operator screen. This is why we put a stupid raise error variable. It is writing raise error and sending to a database, and it gives an error. It's not a select statement. It's nothing. It's only to see red exclamation mark that this package or this procedure has error. So this is how we implemented the email algorithm. As you can see, everything is based on variables, and you can refresh those variables before sending the emails. This is the mail server IP because you wish to use more than one IP addresses, and from is generally static, from which mail account you are sending the excuse me. Okay, from is generally static, where you wish to send your mail to, and in some occasions you wish to change the recipient's mail addresses or groups, and you can put it to your to CC or BCC fields, and you can write a different subjects for each different mail sending. You can do some attachment even with some variable names. It could be a SQL statement, or it could be a file that has been already prepared. The only thing that you have to take care of is the file should be there, and it should be accessed, and it's then attached to your mail. And the message body is an error description that you can simply select from the repository or some other place. So I tried to talk more about the alerts, and the last topic we'll talk about is file to table loop load. For instance, this happened to me almost 6 or 7 years ago. There were thousands of files to be inserted into a table, and it would be used for some analytical purposes. All the files templates were same, but the names were different. Normally in ODI, what you have to do is each file represents a file in topology, and for each file you need to create an interface. And when you have thousands of files, means thousands of interfaces, and it's always changing, and this is enormous workload. So we need to make it some autonomous for the files. The first step is there were some operating system folders, and I wrote a simple Jython code to read the names of the files. The second one is I've added a knowledge module, which is an IKM one. Third one is there is a table which to give some logs about the whether the files are read, inserted, and everything is fine or not. A procedure to rename files for external table, and it could, if the files are existing in some other server, since you cannot do external table, you implement the same thing. It is not similar, it is same thing to use with the SQL loader. Some ODI procedures to finish working with files, and also one get file list which is being sent to operating system and get the list of the file names, and only one single interface for loading and transform and other things for it, and some other ODI variables to pack everything up. So let's try to explain with the name of the web logs. First, we need the data folder, which is the data/weblogs. The second one is my log table. If something goes wrong, or working file, or other thing, it is weblogs/log. The last one is the rejected ones. If the file has some problems and it is not loaded into the table, it could be because files are sometimes generating in with some problems, and it is your decision to reject either only the rows or the complete file, and you can copy or move file plus the log files into this rejected, and you can do this in order to anything. So out of the box, there's an ICANN SQL control append knowledge module. Copied it, renamed as direct load hint. I added two options because it will be only to file to table with select and insert hint. I added a new role to use the hints, because if you want to use the hints, as you all know, you need the alter session to enable parallel DML to make sure in the same transaction without commit, because when you commit this, your session will be restarted with the new one. Just commit transaction to finish everything after all. Then the ICANN goes like this: the knowledge module, insert hint into the target table with columns, and selecting with columns into from staging table, whatever it needs. This is just an example. So prepare the log file. The file ID and file names are really important. It is because we will order everything with ID to make sure that all the files are loaded correctly. On the for the name, we need to rename the file, because we will have only one interface with one source and one target looking at the same external table or SQL loader. And some other file group is important too. I'll talk about it after everything. You can use the same to give a start. You can use the same algorithm for different tables with different files. And if you have enormous number and you have multiple agents in your topology, you can do some sort of parallelism with this method too. File copied flag is the file. There is the end of line or end of file in the file. Everything is okay if you need to copy it. And let's give the procedure. It's only the renaming a file. First, delete the previous file in operating system. See, this is the. Oops, excuse me. This is the remove my external table data file, and move the current file name. See, this is the name of the file as a variable, and it will increase with the file ID, and it will rename the file as my external table, which is my source of my external table file. So if there is if the file is successfully processed, that means all the data in the file loaded into the table. Just update the ETL file log with file processed flag equals to 1. It means I will not read it. I'll not again read this file and insert it to table again. And as you can see, we are doing all those operations with the file ID. And if the file is successfully processed, I mean loaded into a table, delete the processed data file and the related logs. So this is the important step. There are a bunch of files there, and you need to get the file names into ETL file log table. So you import some Java libraries. You make a thin connection to your database. It is because you need to insert the content, I mean the name of the file, into a table. If you can change those upon your needs. If the file name exceeds 8 and there is no data with the same file, just insert it here. There's a SQL DB link, and how you connect to your operating system is user SRC and password SRC, and currently you can get those as a variable from the topology as well, so you don't have to know the passwords here or the users. And this is the connection to operating system. So after everything, close the connection, and now all your name of the files are in your ETL file log table. As I told you, there will be a single ODI interface which stg.invoice.log as a source. It is based on external table with my external table.ext file. It's because we are renaming the next file with my external table. And target is DVH invoice logs. It could be, if you need, you may do some transformations or you may do some filterings. But I generally just control append only loading with truncate no. It is because I prefer to perform the transformations or other filters or anything after loading all the data into the tables. So some variables, as I told you, it is the minimum file ID. If there is no minimum file ID, return it as 0 to avoid any errors within ODI procedures. And file read flag should be equal to 1, and it should be read and it shouldn't be processed. And the file group is invoice logs. As I told you, that you can use many file groups within the same architecture with different templates of files, and you can by copying the package, which we will discuss about 2 or 3 slides later, you can parallelize everything, because there will be only one file read flag and file process flag with this SQL statement. Rename the file name as to this file ID. You get the file name now. Then let's pack it up together. You get the file list. It is all now ETL file log. Refresh the file ID. Start with number 1, 10, whatever it is, and evaluate the variable whether there's a real file ID. I mean, this generally gives bigger than 0. Read the name of the file. Process the interface. I told you that there's, rename the file as my external table ext, so that you can now select the external table. There is a single one interface which reads the data from external table to insert to your database table. One moment. If everything goes fine, update processed file, update related columns in update processed columns, and delete the logs and whatever it takes, and continue with the next file ID. Since this file has been processed, the logs and the data has been deleted. Get the new file ID and make a loop unless the file ID is equals to 0 or equals to 0 or all the files has been processed and uploaded into table. If there's something wrong in here, you get the update rejected by putting this is rejected. I couldn't. It means that I couldn't load the file to the table. I received some error description from either repository or reading via file. Send mail that this file is not processed. It is because of this, or you don't have to. And no matter if the send mail is K or OK, go to the next file. Thank you for everything. I really like to shut it down so fast. Via this method, to talk a few words about this, well, if you copy everything, just the file name 2, file name 3, I processed more than 100,000 files. The files were small, but when you continue with only one the suffix for those procedures and everything, I copied everything and it ran parallel. And it reduced to 6 or 7 minutes to load everything from 100,000 files into a table. So you can do multiple things with changing the structural interface, but the logic is what I'm trying to explain is the logic, and logic is so simple. You just make a loop within an ODI, and you can load anything to any of the either cloud vendors or everything. It even works with ODI platform cloud. So final words, as I talk from my first sentences, you can always reach me via my blog, Twitter or LinkedIn account upon your questions. Checking the chat screen with my other computer. Thank you, everybody. It's my pleasure to be here. Happy for it. Again, Francisco, thanks for everything. Hope to see you in my last webinar. I think it was in 24 or something. Please stay in touch. Thank you.